It's just age. 3 words. That's the whole explanation I got for years. I'm 83, and that's not an explanation, it's a shrug dressed up as medical advice. There's an actual study where researchers tracked testosterone hour by hour in young men versus men in their 70s, and the difference wasn't in the hormone level itself. It was in when and how sharply it peaked each morning. Age isn't a mechanism. Nothing about the number of years you've been alive directly causes a part of your body to stop responding. For years, I accepted the shrug and stopped asking questions. There's always something underneath a shrug like that. In a few minutes, I'll name exactly what was underneath mine and the free 5-minute habit that changed it. Here's what's actually going on. An erection depends on 3 systems working together. There's the hormonal piece, testosterone, libido, which is the one everyone blames first. There's the nervous system, the actual signal from the brain that kicks the whole thing into motion. And there's blood flow, which depends on a molecule called nitric oxide that tells your arteries to relax and let blood rush in where it's needed. That third piece, blood flow, is the one that quietly weakens first for most men, not because of age as some abstract force, but because of decades of habits, blood pressure, and a body that simply wasn't given what it needed to keep that system strong. I'm 83 now, and I genuinely have more energy than I did at 70. I get through my whole day without that flat, dragging feeling I used to carry around like it was just part of getting old. 2 weekends ago, I mowed my entire lawn myself, something I'd quietly started paying a neighbor's kid to do, and I didn't think twice about it until I was already halfway done. I'm not telling you that to brag. I'm telling you because for years I assumed decline was a one-way street, and it turns out it isn't. Not entirely. Here's the part that really proved just age wrong in my mind. The blood vessels involved in this part of the body are some of the smallest in your entire circulatory system, smaller even than the ones feeding your heart, which means when circulation starts to weaken anywhere, this is very often where it shows up first, before anywhere else. Researchers who study this treat it as a meaningful early signal, not a guarantee, just a signal worth taking seriously and bringing straight to your doctor. That reframed everything. This wasn't a mysterious decline with no cause. It was circulation, a specific, supportable thing, not some unstoppable verdict handed down by my birth certificate. And once I understood that, just age stopped being an answer I was willing to accept from anyone, including myself. For 3 years, I slept 3 feet away from my wife, and it felt like 300 miles. She'd fall asleep first. I'd lie there staring at the ceiling, wide awake, feeling like a roommate in my own marriage. I thought something was wrong with me. It wasn't weakness, and it wasn't just age. Here's what no one ever sits a man down to explain. This isn't about willpower. It's about specific systems in your body quietly losing steam year after year, while nobody tells you it's even happening. The pills my doctor handed me gave me headaches, made my chest feel tight, and honestly, they made me feel like I needed a pill just to feel like a man. I wasn't willing to live like that. There's a gentler way to bring those systems back, without any of that. At 83, my wife and I aren't roommates anymore. I'll show you exactly what changed it in this video, and if you want the simple support I personally use, there's a free presentation linked in the description below. So I started doing something about it. And what made the biggest difference for me was almost embarrassingly simple. A walk every morning, outside, in real daylight, not under an indoor light. Here's why that matters more than it sounds like it should. Sunlight exposure in the morning helps regulate your internal body clock, and that clock governs your hormonal rhythm, including the testosterone your body produces overnight and in the early morning hours. On top of that, regular movement itself supports something called the endothelium, the lining of your blood vessels, which is the very tissue responsible for producing nitric oxide in the first place. 2 birds, 1 habit, and it cost me absolutely nothing. I didn't stop there, because no single habit does all the work alone. I added real food to the mix, vegetables rich in dietary nitrate, beets and dark leafy greens, which your body converts into more nitric oxide. I tightened up my sleep, since that hormonal rhythm I mentioned does most of its work while you're asleep. I cut back on alcohol, not eliminated, just reduced, since it's hard on circulation when overdone. I made the walk non-negotiable, the same as brushing my teeth, because I've learned over the years that anything I only do when I remember eventually stops happening at all. Last month, my wife and I planned a trip to see our daughter 3 states away, and for the first time in years, I packed without 1 ounce of dread about how I'd feel once we got there. I just felt like myself, ready to go. We ended up walking the whole downtown of her city on our first afternoon there, several miles without either of us noticing the time. That's the part nobody tells you about proving just age wrong. It's not one moment. It's not carrying that quiet weight around with you everywhere anymore. I think about a man named Raymond who wrote in after one of these videos, 74 years old in Ohio, told by his own doctor in passing, almost offhand, that, well, that happens at your age. He said hearing the actual mechanism explained, that it wasn't some unstoppable verdict, that there was a real, nameable, supportable cause underneath it, changed how he approached it entirely. He told me he'd started his own morning walk within a week of learning this, just to see what would happen. I'm not telling you his story as proof that a morning walk cured him. I'm telling you because understanding the mechanism is what actually moved him to do something, the same as it did for me. If you're on medication for blood pressure or your heart, please hear this clearly. None of what I'm describing replaces your treatment, and you should never stop or change a medication on your own. If you ever add a nitrate-rich supplement specifically, mention it to your doctor first, since it can interact with certain heart medications alongside your treatment, never instead of it. What I want you to walk away with is this. It's just age is the laziest explanation in medicine, and it's almost never actually true on its own. There's a real mechanism underneath nearly everything we blame on age, and circulation, more often than people realize, is exactly that mechanism. Your erections don't disappear just because you got older. They fade when the systems behind them, blood flow, nitric oxide, hormones, energy, and recovery, slowly stop getting the support they need. Ignore that long enough, and it becomes harder to reverse. That's why I take this concentrated formula every morning. Not one ingredient trying to fix everything, but several working together to support circulation, energy, and drive from the inside out. It's a natural, doctor-backed protocol designed to support pathways your body already knows how to use. No prescription, nothing artificial. Stronger, present, confident again. And unlike the pills I tried, I didn't feel disconnected from my own body. No headaches, just steady, gradual change. My wife noticed before I even said a word. The presentation is linked right below this video. It won't replace your doctor or a healthy lifestyle. It's simply there to support your body. At 83, my wife and I aren't roommates anymore, and it's not too late for you. I think about the man I was, the one who accepted the shrug, who stopped asking questions, who let 3 words be the final word on his own body. And I think about the man I am now, 83, who refused to leave it there. That's not vanity. That's not some scoreboard. That's dignity. Being the man who still asks questions about his own body instead of the man who just accepts whatever he's told. If a doctor or anybody else ever handed you, "It's just age," and left it there, tell me about it in the comments below. I'd genuinely like to know how many of us have heard that exact same line, word for word. And if proving that wrong is something you're interested in too, go ahead and subscribe. There's more of this ahead, every single week.